Welcome to Nerd on Nerd with me, Jack Kempster.
And me, Liam Underwood. And in this episode, we're talking about The Last Starfighter.
Yep.
But we have a special guest.
Yes, we do.
So, go on.
We're joined this time by Lee from the Atlantic Screen Connection podcast and other things.
And other things. Hey guys, again.
Hey Lee.
Hey.
I feel like we only spoke a week ago.
That's funny, that.
So, when we had Lee on a week and a bit ago, we recorded a 3-hour-long spectacular episode for all you listeners. And then something went wrong, and we lost it. So, now you get this recording, which is our attempt at recreating that episode. So if at any point any of us sort of get bored with the conversation or it trails off, that's because we've done it already.
Yeah, this is very much like a real-life Groundhog Day.
I feel like I'm okay because I have a shit memory, so this whole episode to me is going to be like brand new.
Well, it's okay as long as you guys can just act interested when I repeat the same jokes.
I don't do it anyway. Whenever you're talking, I always sound disinterested, so that should also be easy.
I think people who are aware of the shows I do realize I laugh at basically everything all the time anyway, to a frustrating degree, so you're not going to notice any difference.
Perfect.
See, so it's all just going to be perfect, guys.
So, let's just get right into it, shall we?
Let's do it.
Catching up with Jack and Liam and Lee. This is the first part of the show where we catch up with each other.
Yeah.
You never explain what this bit is.
Yeah, I thought it was about time.
Okay, fair enough.
Like 40-something episodes in.
In case you didn't catch it.
Yeah, in case you weren't aware. So, Lee, let's start with you. What were you up to the week before we recorded last? Which was over a week ago.
Good question. Terrifyingly vague question. I got kittens.
Yes, that's right. I remember now.
So they're still alive, which is great.
Well done.
Way.
Yeah,
What were their names again?
Kanji and Drogo.
Yeah.
Both a week later, you start to realize the flaws of kittens more. I guess I spent because I work from home. I actually I'm with the cats quite a lot, and they're absolutely, they drive me fucking crazy already.
It's amazing how different this conversation is from last time, Lee, because I remember a lot of positivity about the kittens last week.
Yeah, they were amazing.
They were cute. Yeah, the dream come true, finally, company at home, and then 1 week later, they're like tearing shit apart and fighting with each other, and every time they get on my fucking lap, they're screaming for food, and it makes me feel like I'm not looking after them, but I am. So they're needy, greedy bastards that I now live with forever. Well,
no, not forever, because cats only last what?
Jesus, Liam.
10 years, is it?
Shit, no, they can go on for 20 years, I think.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I know. Fucking, that's a commitment.
Yeah.
Kittens aren't for Christmas, and they're also not for your several decades later.
I like cats though. So I was having this conversation with Kat the other night because for anyone who's just maybe we got some new listeners, right? Because maybe Lee has some fans and they're listening to this for the first time, which is why I'm feeling the need to explain things. So for any new listeners, my girlfriend is called Kat, and we were walking home the other night, and we was approached by a cat, and she's 100% like a dog person, and I like dogs. I'm a dog person, but I also really like cats.
Aren't you allergic to dogs?
Yeah, I am allergic to them, but that's part of the problem because I like them so much that if a dog comes up to me, I don't put myself first, and I'm not like, oh, I can't get near it because of my allergies. I'm like immediately just loving it, and it's loving me back because just dogs love me for some reason.
Yeah.
But the thing with cats is you never know. Like, you could be walking down the street and you get like a surprise cat visit where it just comes over, you give it a little bit of fuss, and then it's done, and you can just move on with your life. And I love those like random encounters with cats that you don't really get with dogs.
Yeah, that's fair.
They're succinct, and they surprise you because you don't expect it, because cats typically hate humans and interaction and joy.
And that's the thing, like, if you saw a dog in the street and it came up and you gave it like 5 minutes of fuss, it'd be like, cool, I'm now bonded to you for life, where are we going? Whereas a cat is like, thank you for that fuss, on your way, good sir.
Yeah, incidentally, that's how our family got our first dog, is literally a dog came up to us in the street, a stray, and just wouldn't leave, just slept outside our porch, and then we were just like, fuck it, let's adopt him.
We have a dog now.
Yeah, we have a dog now. Got it all legally done properly.
Which perfectly demonstrates
also,
my point.
Yeah, although that also leads to things like adopting a crazy dog who hates humans and clearly has baggage and lives on in fear of company, so therefore bites everyone that gets anywhere near him. Those are the days.
That's less fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the cats, they're enjoying their life?
I assume so. They don't tell me. But I hope... they only scream for food, so, you can only get so much out of them, but they do sleep next to us when we're sitting in the living room, so I mean, yeah, why not? I'm sure they're fine. I've Googled it. Cats sleep, so that's a good thing. Only when they're comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Elsewhere in the week, I mean, I said last time I got a shortlisted for a screenwriting.
Yes, that's right.
Thing, like, contest thing, in which if I were to win one of the 4 places, then I get access to like a sort of screenwriting club, I guess, where they develop your script and hopefully try to produce it, which would be awesome if it happens. And a week or so later, I'm still waiting to hear back. That deadline was, I think, today, maybe yesterday, when they were going to meet up and discuss who was going to be in the finals. So, still waiting on that.
Yeah, but you might hear back like tomorrow or something.
Yeah, I know. Which, I mean, imagine the turnaround and the revelation that would have been in recording had I news, but I don't.
Yeah. Well, the good luck vibe still applies.
Yeah.
Because it did sound interesting. So if you want to kind of explain what the screenplay was about, feel free.
Oh yeah. So the screenplay was about is about a girl who commits suicide and wakes up in the afterlife, which is kind of this room with a TV in which she can view all events prior to her death and tune in to life living on past her. Meanwhile, she can interact with people who have died as well, and it's very much about dealing with how people live on without you. As well as trying to cope with the reasons that she killed herself, and also sort of how she deals with meeting up with family who she left beforehand and kind of try to piece together what it all means and what she wanted out of the suicide, I suppose. Which kind of sounds more flippant than it will read, I guess. But I'm not trying to belittle suicide to sort of like a jokes concept circumstance that just happens. It does take suicide quite seriously, but it's kind of like this high concept exploration of our relationships with people post and pre-death, and that kind of shit interests me, so I wrote a feature about it, and hopefully I cannot, it's hard to imagine this ever getting made, I suppose, because I just want it so much to be made, and it's because I don't really know of a lot of films that are like very specifically like it. So I
always had this idea, and this wasn't for like a screenplay, it's just something that I thought would be cool. Would be if when I died, I got to go to this like big editing room and I could play back my life and then tweak little bits and see the new like branch that would go off and just see like, cool. So maybe if I'd have done this, would I then be happy? And then you follow it for a couple of years, you go, oh no, that didn't work, rewind. And essentially like trying to like with a video game, trying to find like the perfect path for like ultimate success and happiness.
That's interesting. And that definitely would make it. It's kind of like Groundhog Day if Bill Murray was in an editing booth watching the events of Groundhog Day happen.
It might make a better like video game almost. Like if there was a mystery that you were trying to unravel, so you go back and you like try and tweak things to see it from different perspectives, perhaps.
Yeah, that's a really cool concept. I mean, isn't that there's part of that concept in a game? What is it? It's like it was like an Xbox exclusive where a guy you can rewind like certain scenes, and those scenes then play out depending on what you pick up in the scene. I can't remember.
Life is Strange does something a bit like that.
Yeah, Life is Strange is another one that kind of toys with it, although none as specific as that. That's a really cool concept. It'd be cool to see that happen in some form, although programming it with like multiple endings for every cut you make would be a fucking disaster.
Yeah, it'd be a nightmare. Just in my head, I was just like, wouldn't it be cool if that's what happened when you died, instead of just, the bleak nothingness of eternity?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it still sounds like you make it like a good book or something, where you have the time to go into this character's many different lives.
I think that's the thing, is it would take so much time to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I still want to do a film with Jack at some point. That's something that we discussed last time, and now I'm going to make us discuss it again.
Cool.
Oh, good.
Because I figure if I can get Jack to commit to it on an episode that we actually release, then it has to happen. Because the amount of times we've said we're definitely going to do something on the podcast, and then that has definitely happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the podcast, everything we say we're going to do happens.
Yes. So, I think the idea is still a mumblecore type film, where it's low budget, like a real quiet little story, just about Jack living his life, I think.
I don't want it to be about me. Why does it keep having to be about me?
Because you're meant to write about what you know.
Else. What?
You're meant to write about what you know.
You don't know my life.
I know you.
You know me, yeah.
There we go then. I could probably
Your
imagine
idealised
your life.
version of me, though, Liam, is scary, and I don't like it.
He knows you enough to make a caricature in a film.
Yeah. So Jack's life. Jack wakes up. He eats some pizza. He goes to work. He reads a book about aliens
I eat pizza
and shit.
before work.
Yeah. You read a book about aliens and shit. You come home. You have a wank, and then you cry yourself to sleep, and that's the movie.
I mean, it's worryingly accurate.
See, I think I do know you.
Yeah. So.
And then you kind of, you have a little calendar, and you just mark down your days for when you get to record with me, and they're like these shining rays of happiness in an otherwise bleak life.
Yeah, sure.
I've been thinking over this concept since you last mentioned it. So, what's the runtime of this? Are you going feature, or is this a short?
I'm thinking. So mumblecores tend to be definitely under 90 minutes and more towards the 60. So I'm thinking between 70 and 80 minutes is my sweet spot.
Okay, and would it be just one day? Would it be a week? Would it look like painful detail of what actually happens in a single day?
Well, so a part of the appeal of mumblecore is that there is a lot of just kind of, it's all about character. So it's all about building up Jack's character through subtleties and nuance, and we've definitely been kicking around some ideas. But
you keep saying we. You did this last time as well, and it's primarily you.
But you've agreed to be in it.
I've agreed to be in it.
Yeah, you just don't want the character to be named Jack.
No.
So we'll name them something else, I don't know, Ezekiel or something.
I'm right with that.
Something close.
Cool.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Or Jock.
Who lives at home.
Jock Dampster.
Or Jake.
Jake, that's good.
But yeah, because we were discussing before that I tried to write a musical about Jack's life, and he was like, whingy little bitch about it.
You started with a song about my parents conceiving me.
Which is the natural starting point of a life.
Absolutely.
But not of a musical.
Yes.
Well, I mean, if it's a musical of a life, then it
Thank
has
you.
to start
Don't side with him, Lee.
Yeah, I mean, where would you prefer we start, Jack?
I don't know. First memory?
What's your first memory?
I remember being on the island of Guernsey and falling down some stairs.
Bloody hell.
Cool.
What's your first memory, Lee?
I kind of can't tell which was the first memory. It was either waking up and going to my parents' room in the night, or kicking my brother out of my single bed, the little bastard, or playing Downfall. You know the board game Downfall?
That game was great.
Yeah, I remember waking up in the middle of the night on a holiday in a caravan, opening it from the box, and then just putting pegs down it and playing Downfall.
So yeah, Jack, we're not going to make... that's a really boring place to start a musical about you falling down some stairs.
Nothing interesting. Well, I mean, it could that could start like the Jewel narrative, one where he's like in a hospital bed and inventing his real life, and then he wakes up. And then it's like he's like 3.
So I think one of the genuine ideas we had for a mumblecore, and I'll try and be vague about it because obviously we don't want anyone stealing these super sweet ideas of ours.
Oh yeah,
clearly.
Yeah, but it was basically Jack kind of living his life. He had a girlfriend, so fiction.
thanks.
And it was all about how like everyone around Jack's like all of his friends and everything, they were all like progressing in their lives and careers and aspirations, and Jack was feeling very like stuck, and the whole film was basically him kind of coming to terms with that and trying to get over it, which is a very mumblecore idea, I feel.
Yeah,
It's so mumblecore. It's also, I feel like really what you're doing with this film, Liam, is you're trying to tell your story without telling anyone that that's what you're doing.
That's what all directors do when it comes to films.
That's all right then, so long as we'll call the character Liam.
Well, no, it's called Jake.
Okay.
Yeah. The thing, I think what we need is a character that blends the two of us.
Yeah?
So we'll take my good looks and...
But I'm playing the character.
Oh, shit, that's our first mistake.
So thanks for the compliment, buddy.
That's all right.
I've already got the good looks.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, what part of you do you want in there?
pick apart.
Pizza loving.
Is this just so you can get like lots of footage of you eating pizza?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds ideal. If every scene ends with me eating a slice of pizza, I'm all right.
What a deal! Yeah, that's like that's the dream contract.
Oh, exactly. What if we do like a documentary film and it's about you like training for a pizza eating competition?
Wow.
I see. I'm more on board with that. That sounds great.
You just have to find a real pizza eating contest, though.
Yeah, or we could do like
That's
a
true.
blend of the two. Like we could do a mumblecore, and part of it will be Jake training for a pizza eating contest.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like so everyone else can be like getting on with their lives, like they get promotions at work, they're getting married and stuff. But Jake is just like all about this pizza. And it's you know, the kind of real like theme and vibe of it is just like, what is it that drives you? And it, you know, it's a non-judgmental look at, you know,
non-judgmental.
Yeah, the things that
by like, you know, cutting the pieces of your life and pasting them back together. We hope to portray you in a non-judgmental light.
Yeah, I feel like Liam thinks just saying non-judgmental means he can do whatever he wants because he can go, no, I said it's non-judgmental, remember?
Yeah, basically. I don't know.
I mean,
we've got lots of ideas is the problem. We just need to sit down and actually write something.
Yeah, hash it out. I mean, I thought it was going in a direction where it was going to be like, you'd find that this is the grey area of his life that he lacks that progress in was going to be illuminated when he meets you and does Nerd on Nerd. But maybe that's too on the nose.
Yeah, I definitely want to be in it. And I do like the idea of being like a sort of spiritual advisor, because I feel like that is how our dynamic tends to work.
I taught you how to wipe your own arse.
Yeah, that's fine.
Wow.
It's a give take push pull type of
Right, okay.
advisory. Like, you know, you give some advice and I listen, and then I give other advice and you don't listen, and that's how I progress and you stay very stagnant.
Sure. Let's move on, Liam.
No, I just wanted to say no, because I was going to say that I thought it would be good to get you on board with the writing, because you like writing.
Yes, and that's what I mean. Once you have that idea hashed out and you know the central concepts of the characters, I am on board. I cannot wait to start picking apart Jack's life and giving it new meaning. I mean, Jake's life.
Yeah. That's
let's get that down first. Let's all stop calling it Jack.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll help with the casting for the girlfriend.
Is it just going to be you in drag? Because, I mean...
Oh, I'm down with that.
That's the advisory rule that you really wanted.
Yeah, I think that would be actually beautiful.
Yeah, touching.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have like a lot of dream sequences as well.
Of course. It's mumblecore.
Yeah, everyone knows that mumblecore likes the old dream sequence. I went to Woking like
did you, Liam?
3 weeks ago now or something. Yeah. I met Dan for the first time, who's been on the podcast before. Dan Palmer.
Yeah, it's weird because I assumed you had met Dan before, but you haven't.
No, I've just spoken to him a lot.
Yeah.
So that was good to meet him. He seems like a quite like well put together chap.
Dan is an odd one in that he's able to do the adult stuff, like figure out, you know, mortgages and shit.
Yeah.
but he's also just a giant child.
Yeah, but he doesn't I don't know, he doesn't convey that. Do you know what I mean? Like he can mask it, I feel.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's able to hide the childlike wonder he has of the universe.
Yeah, but yeah, so I went to Woking and I got you and Dan to show me around as a way of trying to sell it to us because we're looking at a new place to move to.
Yep, and that all resulted in you deciding that you're moving to Woking.
I don't know about that.
I'm pretty sure that's what you said you were going to do, Liam, last time we were talking about this.
Yeah, see, me and Lee both heard that, so now you have to do it.
It's as we've ascertained, anything that's said on the podcast is happening.
Yeah. I'd just like to read out the directions I got from Jack when we arrived in Woking. Bearing in mind, so this is a place
go for it.
I'd been to once before, didn't know anywhere around. I had a postcode to get me to a car park, so we parked up. So I initially sent a message to Jack saying, I think we're headed to Victoria Car Park. The response I got to that was, we here, where you? Obviously I was driving. So I respond, just parked. Jack, me to SB. He realised that was maybe a bit too much code, so then messaged Starbix.
Yeah, I struggle to type.
Yeah. This is after I asked what's SB, because I didn't know. I said...
I sent that before you asked that. It's just that the fucking delay in it sending
made it
look like I immediately answered you. Because I said to Palmer, I went, I've sent SB, and only me, you and Tom call it that.
Yeah. Obviously, not knowing where I was, we come out of the car park and we're opposite a game shop. And, it's the sort of shop that is quite unique. So I figured that's a good way to identify somewhere that we are, that they'll be able to find us. So I said, we're at the game shop. Jack's response, nah, SB. Where is that from here?
I thought you were being like, oh, come meet us here. And I was like...
Yeah, because I didn't know where to go, Jack. I'd never been there.
Yeah, and then I helped you.
Yeah, by giving me some, Lord of the Rings type of coded message. Follow the road
Go on, read out the instructions I gave you.
Follow the road to the big sleeping man.
Yep.
At the sleeping man, left look to the...
My phone cursor fucked up and started typing in the middle of the sentence there.
It was ridiculous. We eventually found
incredible.
it. Woking shit. We did some bowling. It wasn't very good. I don't like Woking. We're not moving to Woking.
I would like to point out that your list of criteria for where you want to move are ridiculous and unreasonable.
It's not ridiculous and it's not unreasonable.
It's ridiculous and unreasonable. You want a house, but you want to pay cheap, flat rates on a house, which is just insane anyway. You want to be closer to London, which fucks that first one up immediately. You want a comic book shop, a HMV, and a chain of cinemas. So one cinema, but it has to be part of a chain that offers unlimited membership, which reduces you to Odeon and Cineworld, and possibly others, but we're not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those criteria are not the criteria of adults looking to rent somewhere.
Yeah, they are.
No, Liam, they're not.
What are
Kat's criteria?
She's just happy if I'm happy.
I don't think she is.
Because to be fair, if I'm not happy, she hears about it relentlessly.
Yeah, what I'm curious about is, if all that stuff is where you are now, why are you moving?
Because the sort of work that I do is more based in London. And at the moment, it's going to take me an hour and a half to get to London, and I'm not doing a commute that long.
Jesus, yeah, no fucking way.
Yeah, so I want to get closer to London, but I don't see why in doing that I should not be able to have a local comic book shop, a local cinema that I can go to, and a local HMV. Those are just three things that I think everyone should have access to.
But you're not going to get them local is the issue. Your idea of local is not everyone else's. To me, I've got a local cinema and a local comic book shop. They're both 30-minute drive away in opposite directions.
That's not local.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Your idea of local is ridiculous.
It's a 15-minute drive.
I just don't think you're going to find it.
I've got good news. Belfast actually hits that criteria in all ways except the London bit.
Yeah, just that one. What's the commute to London from there?
Well, I mean, by a plane, it's probably 45 minutes.
Okay.
So
that's all right.
Not too bad, but then you have to get on a fucking plane twice a day, and I mean,
yeah.
You might be really good with planes. It's not an option for me.
Do you not like planes?
I'm amazed that people do like planes. They're it's like being chucked across the world in a Diet Coke can.
Yeah, it's fascinating how science works in that you can do that and not die.
Yeah, repeatedly in your life.
So have you done yeah, because you went to America.
Yeah, no, I've done like long flights and plenty of flight. I mean, like I've been to London every year for the last 3 years.
Yeah, but you could have got a boat.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but then then we hire a car or fucking drive into London. Are you mad?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, that's insane.
Also, I hate boats. Like, I would much rather be on a plane than a boat.
I'm the other way around. Although I did used to hate boats, I think perspective has changed my opinion on it. Like planes, I'm just like, no, man. I can't even. You know what would be good though? If I could sleep on a plane, problem would be solved. You know, that 10-hour flight to fucking California or Vegas would have been so much easier had I been able to fucking sleep at any point in the 10 hours. Instead of watching like 4 films back to back just to take my mind off the fact that at any point we could just suddenly plummet from the air and die.
Yeah, I can't sleep on planes, but it's because I'm normally just like too excited.
Wow.
Yeah.
To go home and away?
Well, it's more to going away. The coming home, I then just can't sleep because I'm just thinking about what a good time I had and how I'm about to go back to just a shit show. So, yeah. I also find I just can't get very comfortable to sleep on planes.
That's true. Even the one we had that was supposedly comfortable.
Yeah.
On the way back from America, and it was comfortable when it started. We had a big wide TV in the back of the next chair, and you could kind of lounge. Then the guy in the chair in front of me lounged his chair so much it basically like it was resting on my thighs.
Oh
yeah,
and it was like, what the? That shouldn't be. I couldn't even fucking see the TV anymore without lounging back myself and ruining somebody else's day.
That's when you pull out an iPad and just rest it on his face. That's something else that we spoke about last time, but we haven't this time. Since we spoke to you, not last, but the last before that, is you've got married and went to Vegas.
Yeah.
One of those
Vegas.
shotgun Elvis-themed weddings.
Yeah. That would have been the smarter thing to do. I mean, definitely more cost-effective.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Vegas is a shit show.
Did you not like it?
No, I hated it. It's everything I don't like about cities, I guess, if it really even qualifies. I don't like sleazy, crazy people driving.
No, that's fair.
Driving into a sort of commercial place where everybody is asking you to buy shit everywhere you go, and just everything was so expensive. To get the fucking pancakes in the morning was like 25, the equivalent of 25 quid.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I mean, that's absolutely fucking crazy. And that was just at the hotel, to be fair. I could walk in the desert 5 miles away, and then there was there was a McDonald's, you know. I don't like casinos either. And when you hear that, then you go like, then why the fuck did you go to Vegas?
Yeah, that was my next question.
Yeah. I guess I thought I would like the lights and the scenery of it. And I mean, our room was nice.
Yeah.
So we had a good view, and I was really there for pools more than anything. But
did you do the Grand Canyon?
We did not.
Okay.
We did Yosemite National Park instead. Which was
I've been there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's awesome. I like it. Yeah. It's really pretty.
It is really pretty.
Lots of walking. A lot of walking.
Yeah, we see that. We wanted to. Well, I wanted to do that. Maria didn't want to do that, but it was actually like plummeting rain the entire time.
Oh, really?
So we couldn't actually go anywhere.
That's good.
But it was it made for good views of the mountain. We actually stayed in the park itself. Like there's a cabin you can stay in.
Yeah.
We stayed there for a day or so, and I mean that was nice.
That sounds good.
Yeah, so it was pretty. It was pretty
interesting though that you went to somewhere for lights and then ended up preferring a national park.
I mean, there were places that I liked. San Francisco, and it kind of had some lights. It was just a really cool place, nice culture. The people there weren't as crazy.
There's still a little bit of craziness in San Francisco.
Absolutely, I mean, yeah, but at least they were kind of funny crazy. They had most people had a sense of humor about them.
Yeah,
or at least a little sense of self-awareness.
Did you ride the trams and all that sort of stuff?
No, but we had a tour bus to the pier and the Japanese tea garden and that their place where Jimi Hendrix was found.
Okay.
there's like a wall where Jimi Hendrix was was signed or something. I don't know. It was interesting. He lived there nearby as well, where the hippie tie-dye scene was. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. It is a real, like, culturally interesting place.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I just loved the hills.
Yeah.
That was what I was really there for. Although we did the Golden Gate Bridge as well. We sort of drove across it, and that was cool. So, yeah. I mean, that was fine. But like the holiday as a whole was kind of like a mix. Fucking LA was a shithole.
So that's somewhere I want to. Like, I want to go to Vegas because I want to go and see some of the big shows there, like the magic shows and stuff.
Oh my god! I didn't even fucking say. I did see a show in Vegas. It was probably the worst.
Oh, what did you see?
I went to see Cirque du Soleil, Michael Jackson's One.
Okay.
Holy Christ! It was terrible. It's like I think. I quite like Michael Jackson. I think most people on some level appreciate Michael Jackson.
Jack hates him.
Jack hates him. There you go. But like you're bound to like a song or a point in his career that was okay.
Like his do you remember his History album?
Yeah.
That was like the first ever album that I owned, so it was very like defining of my life, I feel.
Right, yeah. So I mean, and there's everybody has some sort of connection to him, whether you like him or hate him.
Yeah.
So I quite like him, and amazingly Maria hates him. Like, he doesn't like his music.
So she loved the idea of this show then. I imagine.
But she was the one who suggested paying the fucking $200 to go see this thing.
$200?
Yeah, for 2 tickets.
Jesus.
Yeah, so already I was like, "Are you sure?" Because I like him, but I mean, I'm not $200 like him. And more to the point, I don't really care for acrobatics or anything like that. So I don't know. There was no point of this. Like, I guess we were desperate to make Vegas feel like it had a reason, you know.
Okay.
So we were trying to get something out of it. And we were turning desperate apparently. So we went to this show, and I mean, it was one of the most surreal experiences I've ever had in my life. It was kind of like entering a cult from the outside.
Yeah.
Everything about it was like creepily adoring Michael Jackson, to the point where it was beyond just his music and beyond the fact that he was like an icon, to making him some sort of weird god who could never die.
That's a bit strange.
Oh dear.
It was creepy as fuck. I mean, before it even started, some guy in the audience just went, "Michael!" And like, that was like, just screamed at the top of his lungs. It was insane. And then like, and there was no prompt. It was like there was some like bits and pieces of his tracks playing before the show had started, and just as something of that triggered this man to scream at the top of his lungs the guy's name. I mean, it's bizarre. But then beyond that, holy shit, yeah, the actual show itself, it was a lot of people trampolining through hoops to various Michael Jackson songs, and I mean, it was tedious, a lot of it.
Yeah.
Also, like, there was like a story, kinda, but it made no fucking sense. And I tried to not pay attention to it because it was getting in the way of some interesting acrobatics. But at the same time, they kept like stopping the show to remind us they're looking for 4 sacred items of Michael Jackson, or like his hats, or his hat and his shoes and his glove. it was one of the weirdest fucking experiences. And it kind of topped off. There was like a hologram, you know, like the Tupac hologram and the Freddie Mercury hologram, that kind of thing. They did one of those for Michael Jackson during the show. And I mean, I was kind of impressive, but then also horrifying at the same time. It was just, it kind of warped. Like, he kind of dissipated off stage and reappeared at other points of the stage. I was just like, oh, he could be anywhere. He could be dancing and screaming at us all. And basically everybody on stage was praising him and begging and hailing him as some sort of creepy god. It was just weird, man, and it cost a lot of money. It was just a depressing like footnote on the whole Vegas experience, and something that like the day after we forgot we did, and then like every 2 days from there onwards we'd be like, holy shit, did you remember the Michael Jackson thing? And like, oh my god, what happened?
It sounds like he was a big fan of America.
I'm sure there's like lots of great things there. I just like, the thing I liked most was kind of driving, because we drove it.
How did you find driving on the other side of the road?
That was easy. I found that actually really. I guess when you spend so much of your time like playing games like Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You kind of adapt mentally into driving on the right hand side at some point in your life.
Yeah. Because I'd love to do like an American road trip with Jack.
Yeah.
I guess Kat can tag along as well. But I feel like that would make some great podcast content.
Absolutely. I mean, getting your on the cuff commentary of the things you see that day, that would be amazing, actually.
Yeah, and we could have like a very literal culture swap.
Yeah, with no one in particular, like between each other, somebody else's culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say if you're gonna do like a road trip, the thing was we kind of had like over like 14 days, we drove like 9 or 10 of them. That was way too much. I would say like drive every 3 days.
Yeah.
And then you'll not burn yourself out. Or if you're going to do like a back-to-back driving, have it like be a small part of the holiday, like 3 days back-to-back, seeing things, and then from there on, like staying somewhere and honing in on what the fuck's there for like a week or 5 days or something long before you go back out, because that driving, although I loved it, it killed me. I couldn't enjoy every place we went because I was trying to make up for the energy of getting there in the first place. So it was like bad enough that America was like exhausting. It was also my fault for making it exhausting. So I guess like it colors all of the expectations except Vegas, where we hadn't drove anywhere yet. We stayed there for like 3 days. So that's where like my memories are the firmest that I was right about it sucking.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, like, I could understand an argument against it.
So what was your issue with LA?
The weird thing about, like, because we were like smack dab in Hollywood, like we were at the Roosevelt Hotel, so that was across from the Chinese Theater. The weird thing about that area is that basically the only people there are sad people. They are people who are trying to make it in LA, and therefore they're doing shit jobs. Like, you know, they're slumming it for poor pay at like a barista job or something like that, while also doing like acting roles on the side or music. I could see a bunch of like well dressed, cool looking kids like backpacking across town to their fucking coffee jobs and their Subway jobs, and that just instantly depressed me because they were trying so hard. So I couldn't detach that. And then the other side of it is nobody like famous actually would ever go to Hollywood. But it's full of people looking for them. Yeah. So it's full of these desperate, sad people who are like stalking every corner with cameras, looking here and there for people who look even vaguely famous. And that also irked me. I was like, it was just like a combination of two of the most depressing positions you could be in life. Like obsessed with celebrity culture or on the bottom end of celebrity culture. Yeah. And so anytime I stepped outside the hotel, I was just surrounded by people that, and the third type of people that were there were homeless people. So I mean, it was just like utter depression every day I stepped outside the hotel. I was like, this place is really sad. It's like it should be nice, but it's also quite an ugly city, full of sad people. And the best part about it was the part where we left it and went to well, that already sounds bad. The part where we left it and went to the Universal Studios on a whim, and that was great. I mean, Universal Studios was awesome. I got to meet a Transformer, and we got to watch the Baywatch movie with Zac Efron, which was actually quite a good time.
Yeah, I love that movie, but I love Zac Efron. So
yeah, well, I imagined you would love it.
Yeah, to be honest, this is just delightful for me that we can now talk about Zac Efron, and I haven't had to instigate the conversation.
Yeah,
because like, isn't he just like totally dreamy in that movie?
Yeah, I mean, like I have always kind of got the appeal, but very recently he has got some kick-ass roles. He really has cornered the market on dude bro comedy. He fucking nails it, man. Like, each of those films with like Seth Rogen and stuff I watch him in, he genuinely makes me laugh my ass off. So I mean, he's a ticking time bomb of how long that can last for. But I hope he continues to make use of it with things like this.
Well, that's the thing.
his sweet bod goes, and then he goes back to dramatic roles, which are okay as well. So I mean, he's got it going.
I think he's aware of that because last I heard, he'd signed up to star in a movie about Ted Bundy, playing Ted Bundy.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I feel like the way I've kind of seen his career, you had the High School Musical days, and then he did Hairspray, and then he like made a very conscious, deliberate attempt to move away from that image.
Yeah.
And now he's kind of fallen into this like bro kind of frat boy kind of image, and now I feel like we're going to see him make another conscious attempt to start moving away from that.
Yeah, absolutely, and that kind of makes sense because he's kind of done probably as much as he can. I mean, Baywatch is probably the last real hurrah of that genre he could do.
Yeah, although if they could do a sequel, I'd be so happy because I feel like him and The Rock have such good chemistry.
Yeah, I mean, like that's it was Maria's favorite film of the year so far, and I mean it was kind of because the cinema in America, they had like lounge seats, like you pressed the button and you like it unfolded, so you were basically lying down watching the film, which is like the laziest thing I've ever seen, but it also was the first time a cinema experience dramatically improved the film I was watching.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I genuinely thought it was. I mean, it was like literally inoffensive, but it was also quite funny. And I kind of have liked this turn in his career, but I'm happy for him to move on. And I mean, Maria's going to be watching everything he's doing anyway, so I mean, I'll be there.
Perfect. I mean, I try and get Jack to watch all of his films, but you know, I can only get like small victories here and there. Although, go on, Jack.
I was going to say I'm not like, I don't get the fixation on an actor and like seeing all their work that I know you have, Liam.
Yeah.
I don't get it. So to me, it's like if the film looks good, like I want to see Baywatch because you've now heard from two people that it's a pretty good film.
Yeah.
But like,
and obviously I'm
it's not
biased.
Because I know you're biased, which is why when you told me it was good, I was like, well, maybe I'll wait and see what other people think.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, just because The Rock and Zac Efron are in it hasn't made me go, oh, I've got to go see that film.
Yeah. I think for me, like that actor thing, like I like to see all of their work because I like to watch their progression as well. Like you can see from like the Derby Stallion even to High School Musical, he's learnt so much in that time as an actor.
Sure. Yeah, but you've got to remember as well, Liam, that I don't remember actors from
that's
just
true.
their name. So me seeing the same actor in multiple films, like I don't see a progression because I don't know it's them.
Yeah, you can completely disassociate from the actor and just completely invest in the characters.
I mean, that's the ideal like life to live, really. You know, you're not supposed to see the actor; you're supposed to see the role. So, I mean, you've got probably the most enviable brain of all time, Jack.
Whoa!
I wouldn't say that, but
well, no, Lee said it, so that's what we're going with.
Yeah, but I feel like there's definitely some actors, like Tom Cruise, gets cast to essentially just play Tom Cruise now.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean,
yeah,
he's always been good at Tom Cruise, so I mean, there's not really much to take
I
away
feel
from
like
him there.
the way he approaches movies is he's just like, what's the most ridiculous stunt they're gonna let me do for this film?
Yeah,
I feel like he doesn't even care about acting anymore. It's just for him. He loves the adrenaline of doing these ridiculous stunts.
I mean, fair enough.
Didn't he?
He does some
Didn't
cool
he get
stunts.
hurt really badly recently?
Yeah, doing something for the next Mission Impossible, I think.
That's it.
It was inevitable. I mean, you can't keep getting away with that. And the guy's in his 50s, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it's a slippery slope, that time thing.
What have you been up to, Jack?
I went to Woking and you stole it from me, so nothing.
Cool.
I thought you lived in Woking.
I don't live in Woking. I've just got a friend. I've got a friend who lives there, so I know what it's like
to live there.
I've experienced it. It's backwards. None of them know about technology and the future, and they're all scared of dogs. Move on.
Which, really, you'd think it would be a perfect place for me, but nah.
It's with that, man.
Or H&B or a comic book store. So,
I need my things.
basically, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. I know what else you were doing, Jack, if you want some help.
Yeah, go on.
You was planning a D&D campaign.
Yeah, that's true, which at this point we have played, but we're not going to talk about on this yet. So I'll talk about the planning. I've been planning a D&D campaign for Liam, Tom, who has done art for us on the Twitter page, and Tom's girlfriend, Frankie.
Yep.
It's been a lot of work, Liam.
Yeah, I know, and I hope it's worth it.
Well, you know at this point whether it was worth it. But
yeah,
I like that you're keeping up the fiction.
Yeah, I mean, you put a lot of effort in, Jack, and well done, I guess.
You're so worried about the level of effort I've gone into for this.
If you put that much effort into the podcast, I'd be so happy.
I edit this fucking podcast every week.
Let me ask you a question, Jack. How many hours in a week do you think you put into the D&D planning?
Okay, if I do the week that was the build up to the actual game, then it was probably minimum an hour a day.
It was probably more than that. Let's be honest.
Yeah, all right. Let's say a minimum of 2 hours a day.
Yeah,
and then a couple of days where I did maybe double that. So let's say 7 to 14 plus an extra 4 hours, so 18 hours in a week.
Does it take you 18 hours to edit one episode of Nerd on Nerd every
it takes
2 weeks?
3 hours.
Yeah, I would hope not.
Yeah, so this is what I'm saying. If you put that much effort into Nerd on Nerd, I'd be so happy.
But instead, Liam, you get to experience my fantastical mind and the world it creates.
Honestly, I'm struggling with the maps. That's the thing that's doing my head in the most.
Why?
Why?
I prefer the imagination. I much prefer...
No, that's fine.
Oh, you have actual, maps?
So,
made out?
Yeah.
So the way I've done it, Lee, is there's, so say that the guys are having, for example, in the first episode, I'm going to fucking talk about it, Liam. You've ruined it by getting me angry about the maps. They had a fight in this, market square place.
Right, yeah.
And for that, I had found a map that was of a market. I'd set that up, put all the monsters and stuff on it. Because I find that in D&D, when you're doing a battle, it's all well and good using your imagination, but when 6 walking plants attack someone, me as the DM, if we're doing it imagination, I've got to remember where everyone is.
Yeah.
For Liam,
okay,
he
so
can just
no,
Jack, where am I?
Here's
And I
the
can
thing.
go, oh, you're next to this thing.
You have a map for, the battles, right? And you could just draw that on the fly. You could be like, okay, so here's, a 40-foot radius.
No, you couldn't draw it on the fly.
You could.
No, you couldn't.
Yeah, you could be like, here's a 40-foot radius.
You don't understand.
You guys are here. The enemies are here. Go. It's the fact that, the next bit we then had to do was walk down an alleyway, right? And it was literally just
which
us
had a
walking
fight
down.
in it.
And you didn't need a map for that.
You did for the fight.
No, you didn't.
You do.
You don't.
Right. The other issue, Liam, is this again comes back to your primary problem that I've always told you is your primary problem, is you're very selfish in that you want something to be your way, and if anyone doesn't think that's the right way, your head is like, I just can't comprehend anyone else. So Tom has played D&D once before with me.
Yeah.
Maybe twice.
Yeah.
Frankie has never played D&D.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to ease Frankie into it by giving her the easiest way of doing it, which is having a battle map. There will be imagination, Liam. It's just so far you haven't had an encounter that doesn't need a battle map.
That seems fair.
Thank you.
No, it doesn't. It's ridiculous. Honestly, Lee, if you could have seen, I'll give him the marketplace one, right? I'll give him that. Yeah, it helps to have it for the battle. Doesn't necessarily help for everything else, but for the battle, yeah. But for the alleyway, it's literally, okay, imagine a capital I with the dangly bits on. Do you know what? I don't know. They've got a name for them, haven't they?
I don't know. Yeah, capital I. I know what you mean.
Yeah. That's what the alley looked like. It looked like a capital I. Okay. We walked along the top bit, down through the column of the middle of the eye, and then the battle was along the bottom, bit that the eye stands on.
The expanse. Yeah.
Don't think you need a map for that. Just explained it.
Yeah, right. But again, you don't need a map, but the map helps you lets you position things. You don't need a ton of stuff for D&D. You can play D&D without character sheets. You can play it just as a core, here are the rules, this is how you roll the dice. I just think it's more interesting to have visual guides for people. You can use your fucking imagination.
Yeah, but I think the map gets in the way of the imagination sometimes. Because
well,
sometimes it's
unfortunately,
really
Liam,
hard.
you're not the DM, so go fuck yourself.
Sometimes
your character's going to die.
Sometimes it's really hard to when you're like,
we've played one game.
Yeah, like I said, I enjoyed
you need
the
to
rest
chill
of
your
it.
socks.
I enjoyed the rest of it. I just have beef with the maps because
I honestly don't give a crap.
I don't care.
Maybe next time, just blindfold yourself, and then there are no maps.
I can set it up so that Liam's character doesn't have sight because we're using an online thing. So Liam's character could literally just be plunged into darkness. So maybe I'll do that on the next battle map.
Yeah, but then you would have to get better at describing everything because I wouldn't have the map to look at.
Yeah, I haven't had to describe a lot of stuff yet
because you've had the map.
Jesus Christ, Liam.
gets in the way of my imagination and your descriptions.
You need to chill yourself out. You're a
I'm
player
very
character.
chilled.
You do not know what goes into being a DM. Stop criticising how I DM the game.
Literally, it's just the maps. Everything else was fine. Because the other thing, right, Lee, let me just kind of see if I can get you on my side with this, right?
This guy's so getting dragged in the middle of this, like in the Force case.
Lee, which one of us is right?
Right.
No one!
The issue I have with the map, okay, is to me, it makes the story feel very restrictive, because I now don't know, for example, I feel like if I wanted to do something and go completely, like, you know, off script, if you will, if Jack didn't have a map ready for it,
It would suddenly already.
It would become either very obvious that I've gone like off script because there's not a map prepared. So the maps to me they start making things feel like I'm following a very deliberate storyline, which therefore takes away my like agency in it.
So, but you definitely can break those rules, can't you? I mean, like, if you say, if that alley is an I shape, I mean, there might be windows in the doors you could sneak around in the neighboring buildings or something like that. I mean, it doesn't have to be on the map, so you just have your imagination triumph over the map, I suppose.
That's the thing, and it's very hard, because I'm quite lazy, so I see a map and I go, I'll just go to where that door is on the map.
Wait, yeah, but then what? I'm so confused by what your issue is, because it's now sounding like your issue is that you're lazy, which at this point stops being Liam has a problem with my maps and just becomes Liam's upset that he's too lazy to do shit.
Well, if I didn't have the map, I'd be forced to use my little brain box, wouldn't I?
I've already said to Liam Lee that he is allowed to do whatever the fuck he wants. They've already gone off piece of what I was planning. I've explained that to him. I think what this really boils down to is, I don't remember what episode number it is, but very early on in Nerd on Nerd, we had an episode about Dungeons and Dragons where Liam threw a hissy fit and told me that I would be the worst DM and he would hate it. So I think what's happening is Liam just doesn't want to admit that I can DM a game.
No, I gave you credit. I said everything else that you DM'd was fine. It's just this one element. And I wouldn't even mind, right, if it was like, if you were like, okay, so Tom and Frankie are new at this. We're going to use the maps for like the first like part of the campaign to ease them in.
No, but I prefer having the maps because I find it difficult to have 8 creatures that I've got to keep track of.
Do you just draw a crude map when there's a battle?
Why? If I can get a downloaded map that looks way better than something I'm going to draw, why does it matter that the map is more detailed?
Because I don't like it.
See, exactly. It's a pathetic reason. This is the same as the Studio Ghibli argument, Liam. I'm not going over it with you. D&D was great. Shut your mouth.
So from Jack's perspective it was great, and from my perspective it was decent, but like
room
for
improved.
improvement.
Yeah. That's funny. Like the in that fucking interlude between this re-recording, I actually organized and hosted our own D&D party in the the apartment.
Oh wow! How did that go?
It was quite good. I mean, we discovered a few things that we're going to have to change for next time. One being like drinking. Everybody was drinking. Things got a bit chaotic.
Yeah.
So like that's probably going to get fucked out the window. But ultimately, I mean, it's in the space of like 3 hours. It took us that amount of time to leave a building, go to another building, talk to a dude. And then we started like a miscellaneous side story where we went to a farm to get a chicken, and we bartered for a chicken that we didn't need, and then we got to the place where we thought we'd use the chicken, and then it had like 0. I think we did manage to find a way to use it, but it was fucking ridiculous. I mean, for the most, and then we got in the middle of a fight, and then everybody was too tired and drunk to figure out what to do with the fight, so we just stopped. Oh, we had tried to fight this dude, and we everybody took a turn at hitting him, and I think we all took equally 3 turns to beat this one goon, which was fucking terrible. It was just like shit luck. Like, they just could not get the rules we needed just to kill this one guy, and there were like 4 guys in the wings waiting to take on.
So were you DMing or were you playing?
I wasn't DMing. Lawrence, who writes for Big Picture Reviews, he was DMing.
Oh, okay.
So because I don't have time to wrap my head around the multitude of shit you have to read, but what I did do was I bought some sort of books, you know, that sort of have these adventures already started out, because they're good for beginners to have these little mini adventures. already mapped out for us, and we didn't have maps, but we did have little pieces from Settlers of Catan.
Okay.
We had the little houses, and we had built. Lawrence had built a little village to give us the shape of the village. And then that was it. From there on, we sort of knew where was north and east until we knocked all the pieces down, and then that was totally useless.
That sounds like almost like a perfect compromise. That you don't have a massively detailed map; you just have a kind of rough, sketch of
here
where
are the
things
features.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And also take a lot less time to do.
I'm just ignoring Liam at this point. Yeah, I find, Lee, that it's weird that, like you were saying about how long it takes to do things. Like, every time I've done a game of D&D and I always overplan it, and I'm like, oh god, I've got to have all this ready because what happens if I get past this bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you sit down. Like the best example of it I've ever had was when I played with my friends and we had it, all physical, sitting around a table.
Yeah.
I'd set up this whole thing. I was all excited about it, and one of my friends spent like way too long just talking to people. Then they eventually left this tavern and had started walking, and I was like, cool, the quest, like, we're about to get in combat. And then he went, oh, I didn't pick up my hat from the tavern. So we had to spend 10 minutes of story of him travelling back to this tavern because he'd left his hat on a wall. And I was like, Jesus, fuck it, we're not going to get anywhere.
That's amazing. I mean, that's
also one of the best things.
That's the kind of one of the best things about those games is that you really can just fucking meander in 100 directions and waste your own time, but it all becomes an entertaining story regardless.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get a story out of it, and that's like the important bit, I think.
Exactly.
When people can go, we did this cool thing in D&D. That's my favourite thing.
Yeah, the story is the important bit, not the maps.
Liam, I swear to God, I will hang up on this call.
Way to twist it.
No, I'm just pleased that we all agreed, that's all. Is that it for catching
You're
up?
You're going to struggle tomorrow when I remove your character's site and maybe just delete him from the game.
I don't think I will struggle with that. I'll just go, cool, bye. That sounds like a very easy solution.
For everyone.
Yeah. No, like, it's
right.
Like, it is interesting.
God, are you making more points?
Yeah, it is interesting playing with like two people who I'm aware that like haven't played it before, because I've been doing it for like a year and a half now.
Yeah,
right.
And it's fascinating just seeing like the different ways that people play.
Yeah.
Like it's also interesting seeing the different ways that the DMs kind of solve problems, because there was definitely
or create
like
problems in your view.
Yeah, we almost had like a slight issue where one of the players, they just couldn't quite figure out why their character would hang out with everyone else's character.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one of our characters is like two of them, Liam's and Tom's, are both like these sort of rich, come from like fairly rich families and are a bit snobby. And Frankie's character is an orphan that grew up on the streets who hates nobles. So her character has a real tough time. Like I was having to try and figure out how to get her character to team up with anyone.
Yeah.
Which
in the end ended up being a fairly heavy-handed way of doing it, but they have to be a party because I need them to work together.
Together. I mean, that's exactly the same problem we had in R1. I mean, this was my first actual time doing this, but like I had picked a sort of straight-laced paladin character, so like I was going to be the guy to kind of try and steer the story and sort of be on the GM side and try to get everything go the way it has to go. Even because I knew everybody was going to fuck around. But my brother, who was playing, he picked like a chaotic evil frog dude.
All right.
And basically there was a huge issue at the start trying to figure out why like his character pretty much every now and then goes out of his way to pray to a dark lord for the power to kill things and shit like that. And my guy would have like an issue with it, so we kept having to find excuses like, I didn't see it happen. Or we just got lucky. Just shit like that just to keep it all together. And that kind of license kind of does take away a little bit of the, I don't know, immersion of the story where we have to go like, and that's why we can still play.
Yeah. Well, we tried to have a go at recording it as well, which just failed miserably, and it's very sad. But it would be cool, I think, down the road, once everyone's a bit more comfortable with it, to have like people come on as like almost like with a guest character for like a small skirmish.
Well, I mean that would be cool, but that's fucking my decision as the DM, Liam, because I'm the one that will have to do all the work for that. So don't you start making promises.
I'm not making any promises. I'm just saying what would be cool.
Yeah, it would be cool.
Okay.
Did you ever watch Harmon Quest?
Yeah, I love Harmon Quest.
Yeah, so I mean, I was just thinking that's a kind of cool way. I mean, obviously you can't do animated bits, but the way they do guest characters when they come on the show, they have this one guy who comes on for one episode and he plays a part and then usually dies, sometimes doesn't.
Yeah.
But helps them for a small part of the quest. That kind of, I think that setup kind of really worked with regards to keeping the show interesting as it went along the story. So, I mean, you could absolutely just outright steal that.
Yeah, but it would be even better if we could have figured out a way of recording it.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll see down the line if we can figure out a way of doing it properly.
I don't know how though, because it feels like because we've got because I've got an Apple, it doesn't work.
Yeah, no, it's fine. That's what I'm saying. Like down the road, because I don't think it's one of those things. Like I don't know if you've ever seen, Lee, this group called Critical Role.
I think I have. I'm not entirely sure.
It's a bunch of like famous voice actors who do video games, and they had this campaign that they all played for years, and then eventually like Geek and Sundry, Felicia Day's YouTube channel and Twitch channel, they were like, oh, you should come on and do it on here. So they've just like literally it started just in the middle of this group's quest together, but that worked. Like they made like a little back roll thing that played for the first few episodes that was like, here's how we got to where we are.
Here's what happened. Yeah.
But that worked.
There's a lot of creative ways you could probably do it. I mean, like, it could be like, to steal one of Liam's ideas for your own mumblecore film, it could be half documentary, where, like, you kind of, while you're filming or recording, you're actually, like, they have a narrator summarizing what had happened, and then just kind of clips of arguments and, like, and little bits. So you're not, like, it's not, like, a 4-hour long video of people like debating on decisions and shit like that, but it's actually like a neat like 1 hour video where it's like the group then made their way to the thing, and you could have really crudely drawn maps and stuff like that to sort of illustrate like where and why and what happened, and little doodles to come up in the place of actual action, and then you could cut to the real life thing. I think that'd be funny. And it would totally save you 40 years trying to piece it all together.
That's true.